This right here is why I love original anime. There's no expectations, there's no chance of spoilers, there's nothing except twists and turns at any particular moment. What we just saw with the second episode is something I would have expected to realize at the episode 10 or 11 mark, not episode 2. But to be able to walk into this show thinking we have a good understanding of what Deca-Dence wants to be and how it's going to operate feels a little similar to certain shows that we've seen, but it's doing its own thing. Then episode 2 slaps us and say, nah, we're gonna pull some Black Mirror stuff, we're gonna have some alien overlords, having these like robotic soldiers that are just soldiers, and if you obey the system, you get to continue your sentient life for as long as you basically serve the system. We're not a VR MMO, you just are going to control these flesh-like bodies remotely, and if anything goes haywire, basically you're going to retrieve chips that are in the humans, and basically bugs, as are being explained, are characters like Natsumi, who the system doesn't recognize. This show just blew my mind and then some, and there are so many possibilities going forward, even more than what episode 1 laid out. This is wild. The way they shift the presentation without even warning and make it feel like a cutesy little anime, it feels jarring. You're like, what in the actual hell is Deca-Dence doing? Is it already jumping the shark? But then as the episode gets progressing, you realize it did anything but that. It just set in motion something even better. This show, I can't believe what it just pulled. I have to give major props for the willingness to take a risk. Not take a risk at like the end of a show. If something like this happened, if it was revealed that characters like Kaburagi are like basically these like robot-like beings that are controlling a flesh-like body and that they're working for some alien-like overlords, it would feel probably pretty okay and not as like left field if it was towards the end of the show, because we'd be able to piece together a lot of the things that have been happening behind the scenes up until that moment, like why characters like Kaburagi were basically like harvesting something from humans, things like that. It'd be like, okay, we've had enough time that a twist like this, we had an idea something was coming. But episode 2 kicks it off and just slaps us with this adorable art style with these little robots kind of walking along, getting basically payments in the form of these injections that keep their bodies going. And if you disobey the system, they'll rip you apart and harvest you and recycle you for a new creation. This is insane to me. The fact that what we've been seeing, it's not like this is a virtual world. This is a real living and breathing environment, but creatures are basically being controlled by having these like flesh-like bodies that is honestly acting like a video game. There's weapons, there's stats, there's rankings, and if you cheat like you do in any video game, you get banned, but banning in this case is being ripped apart and your robot body is no longer in operation. I can't believe it. I really can't. Deca-Dence just cemented itself as one of the best anime of this season, in my honest opinion. With episode 2, that may be a bold claim to some, but the fact that they were willing to take such a gamble, because they didn't have to go this route. They could have kept it as just a post-apocalyptic human story where you fight alien-like creatures and that is that. But what they ended up doing was they went a step above, something that you see in like a Black Mirror, good Black Mirror that is, I'm not talking about bad Black Mirror, but just stuff like that where you have just corruption and like the sabotage and just this like overpower thing, just like it's controlling you and you have to obey the system. But of course you're going to have some characters push back against the system and continue their lifespan, because a character like Natsumi, this bug who is considered dead by the system, who isn't being able to be scanned, you want to see what a bug could do to the system, and that's why you're going to train her in combat. Mind blown. Honestly, I didn't see a single person predict something like this happening in my comments or reading through Reddit and things like that. Obviously, there's like, oh, something has to be going on, there has to be more to this. Why is he like collecting something off of humans? Who is this weird mask-like figure? But no one expected, and obviously there's going to be a handful of people who did, I'm sure, but no one that I've seen publicly state as such, that we're going full Black Mirror and having robots control flesh-like bodies, recovering chips as they fight, and basically most people who we've been focusing on probably view this as a game as seen by the people who are actually tackling the combat, but characters like Natsumi, this is actual death to them. So there is clearly a difference between these robot-like creatures and characters like Natsumi who actually mourn the dead and actually feel pain and destruction. And that's a really fun concept to me, that it's not just black or white, it's not just humans or it's not just robots, it's like this mix and match where some are treating it like a video game where others are treating it as life or death. And that's such a fascinating concept, especially considering how the episode kicks off and you see death and despair. It actually feels gruesome. It feels like this is war. War never changes. If you're going to risk your life on the battlefield, be ready to come back with an arm that's been shattered from an explosion, or you have to look at your best friend, your mother, your father, your sister, just dead on the ground. There is so much destruction and it feels so painful, and that's why when they shift to the different presentation, I was took back. I was like, what in the actual hell? You had such a great tension and atmosphere. What are you doing? Did you really jump the shark? But then when you realize that not all the characters are real humans, it makes so much sense, as if there is so much here that meets the eye, and I have no idea where they want to take this. Like, I thought I knew where they wanted to take it with episode 1. I think a lot of us thought we knew where it was going to go. And then episode 2 slaps us, and we just keep asking to be slapped because we're just so fascinated by what in the actual hell we are seeing. This show has made me more excited than any first 2 episodes in quite some time. This is the power of original anime. This is the power of when you break away from the trends and you take some giant-ass risks. I'm not going to say every time you take risks it's going to pay off. Stuff like Kato the Right Answer wasn't for everyone. A lot of people ripped into it because they felt like it took too many risks. So I'm not going to say original anime and things like that are always going to be like, you know, the saving grace, you know, just take the biggest risk and do something crazy. But you get shows like Flip Flappers, you get shows like Deca-Dence that just try to be crazy, but honestly seemingly stick the landing, and other studios look and say like, we can try to mirror this, but honestly we have no idea how to do so. I already like the characters, but seeing how we have one of our characters just controlling this body that is so fascinated by a bug, which is Natsume, I'm just sitting here like, this show didn't have to hook me any more than it already did. I was fine with what it was being. Epic post-apocalyptic human story. I was fine with our boy just not wanting to fight because he didn't want to see any more death, but then it makes even more sense, makes him even more intriguing, seeing how he is just a tool for a system and now he's seemingly breaking away from said system. But if he doesn't collect chips and things like that, what's going to happen with this masked individual? Because they can rip you apart and then some. This show has me so hyped. And I don't get hyped like this on reviews. You can go back and watch most of my reviews. I'm pretty calm because I don't fake artificial hype and excitement. The fact that I'm this excited watching Deca-Dence, it shows how much I love it and how impressed I am with the twists and turns. It is so interesting to have something that's treating it almost like a VR MMO, but isn't a VR MMO, but also has real-world mechanics to it, and it's a crossover like none other. I think this show, the fact that it pulled a twist like this so early on, is confident in its story so much that it doesn't have to keep it hidden for this long, and now we can really see both sides and just watch the remaining 10 episodes and just enjoy all the insanity as we piece together probably even more twists and turns along the way. This show is incredible, and not everyone's going to feel this way, I'm sure. Some people are probably going to hate the twist or think it's too much, or just think they jumped the shark. For me, I don't think so. I think having something that feels like this alien robot overlord kind of like monitoring humans, and just the fact that humans can be oblivious to what's happening as if they're cattle in such a unique way, it seems so fascinating to me. And the fact that we have two characters of opposite species basically now interacting, what could they do to the system? Could they save it? And just what is a bug truly in the grand scheme of things? They didn't have to do anything different than episode 1, but they blew me the hell away. And I'm even more intrigued by Natsume than I already was. I already thought she was a great protagonist, she had a great personality, she had a great story hook. You just made her all the more interesting, and the fact that we have this bug-like system, this shit's insane. I love it, I need more of it. Oh my god. This shit could be anime of the season in a lot of ways depending on how you look at it if it really sticks its landing and becomes original. I think shows like these just kind of prove my point of why I try almost any original anime. And not every original anime is something as original as this. Most still follow anime trends with having a couple of twists and turns that obviously they have the liberty to do because they weren't following a pre-existing source material. But then you get directors like these who just throw us against the wall and say, hey, this is what we are. We're weird, we're wacky, we're silly, we're goofy, we're extreme and violent, and our violence is in this cute little robot scene at times, and then other times it's like realistic anime violence, and I'm just like, why? How did you come up with this? What did you watch? What did you look at and say, hey, I want to take my own twist on this? I don't know, but I'm thankful for this, and I really want to see behind the scenes for this production, because I want to get in the mind of this director even more than I think we already are, because I think this would be such a fascinating story to really break down the production to beginning to end from. And since it's a Funimation show, I really hope they're going to have a lot of interviews with the creators here, because holy shit, I need to know what went behind the scenes to create twists like this, because I love it. I love how ridiculous the art style looks for the twist, but it honestly feels even more great and AI and artificial because of how they directed it. This show slaps, and it slaps hard. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. Did you see the twist coming? be honest, even if you didn't see it coming, what the hell did you think of it? Because I personally loved it. Do let me know. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like to show your support, and remember to hit that subscribe button if you happen to be new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care, and goddamn, I can't wait for episode 3. Have a good one.